Moving house can be a daunting task even for a bachelor like me, who has little to move. Actually, it's especially daunting for a bachelor like me because cleaning. That's why when I needed to move this week to a new home that had been commercially used and had been vacant for over 2 months, I knew I had to call in the experts. Parapet Cleaning is the leading cleaning and allied solutions provider in East and Central Africa. They have been in existence for 22 years, currently providing services in Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, and Rwanda. I called them in, and boy, did they clean. Their home spring cleaning product, it takes about 8 hours of deep cleaning, making sure all nooks and crannies are cleaned. I'm now recording from the comfort of a clean and almost sterile environment in my new home, thanks to their professional and very friendly team. Oh, have I told you about their detailed car cleaning? It takes about 7 hours of interior and exterior detailing to bring the car to its almost showroom look. Yeah, they did that for my very old Muti a couple of months ago. Give them a call today on 0788 888 748 or email on info@parapetcleaning.com. Thank you at Cleaner Strauss, cleaner number 1 for hooking a brother up. Now, I hear you also do gardening and landscaping. See my garden. Am I pushing it? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome to Living Truthfully. I stopped counting episodes, so we're just gonna go straight into the conversation. How are you doing? How are you coping? Is COVID affecting your life? Ama sasa tumezoea mambo ni vile tu. We just go on as usual. Are you working from home? What's going on in your life? What are the things that are concerning you at this stage? Nasikia watu wamekula school fees, wameenda holiday nayo, na Magoha anataka watu warudi shule in October. Do you want your kids back in school in October? Do you think they are ready? Shouldn't they lift the restrictions around churches and entertainment, sports first? We practice with the adults, and then we can do the school. What do you think? Yeah, but what else is going on in your life? One of the things that's happening for me, and it's interesting that a friend of mine brought this up, is that I find myself a lot more sensitive than I used to be. So I'm finding that my reactions are heightened. If I'm angry, like I'm a lot more angry than I would have been. If I'm sad, I'm a lot more sad than I would have been, and I'm starting to think that these are probably some of the effects of the prolonged anxiety that COVID has brought along. Anyway, let me know what you think. With me today is my friend, my mentor in many ways, my coachee. It's just amazing what this friendship is turning out to be, and I'm very privileged to have with me today the one and only Mr. Tosh. Tosh, karibu.
Asante sana, man. It's great to be back.
Makofi kwako.
Asante.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good. As you said, challenges here and there. I think someone said you roll with the punches. I'm not quite sure what it means, because maybe we are just I think it's Muhammad Ali type, rope a dope. You're just hanging in there waiting for
the next punch,
but also the opportunity to swing your own killer punch.
Yeah.
So it's whoever it is pounding your whatever your midriff, but you're hoping that there will be an opening and you sucker this thing and.
Do you feel like your midriff is being punched?
In some ways. Life has been, it's been interesting. As you said, not just the restrictions of movement. For me, like, I really hate wearing a mask.
It is the mask thing, eh?
So it actually limits. When I want to go out, I think I have to wear this thing.
Yeah.
I cancel going. I just say, forget it.
You cancel going because of the mask.
I think I would go because I have to go.
You know, this mask, I don't think it's going to go away soon.
So I have to figure it out. Eh?
You have to figure it out. Either wear the mask or cancel life. So you were telling us about the punches that you're rolling with.
Yeah, I think one of them was just this time when I fell off my bike and dislocated my shoulder. You know, I guess as I tell people, you just learn that how you should just enjoy the simple things in life. You know, can you imagine? I was beginning to make decisions on what to dress based on the degree of difficulty. Like I didn't want stuff with belts. Because tying a belt was another thing altogether. Shoes without, I'd look for sandals, shoes without laces. So it's, you know, those punches come. They're unexpected. They change the trajectory of how you are planning to do your things. And, but you roll with them. You roll with them.
You know, I think watching you adjust from the bike accident, was interesting because the things you really take for granted, you know, like you said, tying your shoes and taking a shower and things like that, and an injury on your shoulder just completely changed that.
Yeah, but you know, I learned that I actually dress from the left because I dislocated my left shoulder from left. If it's a shirt, I put on my left, it is through my left arm first, then the right, because before, if I didn't get my left arm in first, there was no way it's going to work. There's no way it's going to work.
So, did you ever notice before that you dress from your left?
You see, before I just used to dress, you know, just put the thing and do whatever it is. Yeah. But now you have to.
You've adjusted so that you dress from the left first.
Yeah, that's how I have to do it.
Wow.
Because before I never used to think about it, but now it's how I get to bed. How I used to go into bed was even now it's still kind of deliberate.
How is your shoulder now?
It's a lot better, but there's work to do. I'm supposed to go in for some, to get an MRI so that they figure out, because the doctor felt it's moving a little slower than anticipated. I go for physio. I tell people it's, you know how you go and pay for punishment? I pay a guy to punish me. You almost have to. There are tears, you know, have tears, but it's the price to pay to get full flexibility back. You know, it's called rolling with the punches. But I'm sure my knockout punch is coming.
Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match. Are you
You're ready to give it back. Like a nice lefty.
I'm looking for the time the life gives, you know, that kagap.
Yeah. And you give it a left hook.
Yeah.
Left hook.
And then I'm standing, I'm doing, you know, and they're counting this thing out. And it's one, and I'm told, you know, you got it. You got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
I find that a lot of what we want to discuss with you today is very similar to what guys are going through now. Yeah. Because you said you wanted to come and share your story of burnout.
Yes.
And when I thought about it, I thought that this is a really relevant conversation for this time, because guys need to be able to be careful about what their signs are for themselves.
Yes.
But let's start with your story.
Yes.
You know, and guys, you know, Tosh, he's been on the podcast before. We've had a couple of conversations with him already. I met him and his dad, and we had such a great conversation. I went all the way to Nyeri, to Karatina, to have a convo with his dad, who is in hospital, and I pray that he gets well.
Thank you.
And so, Tosh, your story is interesting because I've always seen you as a go-getter. You've always been, you know, those 4 a.m. guys. Let me tell you guys, the other day I was talking to some chick. So, I don't know, I think we were planning to meet for breakfast, and she asked me, you know, so what time? So I said maybe like 9. It's like 9, that's not breakfast, that's like midday. I was like, 9 is early in the morning. And she's like, I thought you were one of those 4 a.m. guys who wake up and by 5 you've read all your emails and you've responded to them, and by 6 you have read a book. I'm like, I'm not those guys, but I know a guy who is. Tosh is exactly that guy. 4 a.m., get to read, get to do your quiet time. Today you're telling me you're doing your Bible study, your BSF.
Yes.
I know you were known, when you lived in Kilimani, you were known to be doing your prayer walks, at that time in the morning.
I tell people I was a night runner.
It is true. He was a night runner.
I even learned how to back. The dogs would come, so we would have a backing competition so that they can back down.
And the incredible stories of some of the things that you did at that 4 a.m. Allow me to digress for a second. But you lived in an area where there were ladies who used to, get customers at night.
Yes.
And every morning at 4 a.m, you were up praying.
Yes.
Tell me, what was your interaction with those ladies at that time?
Well, what happened is one day coming from my run, I think, I don't even know how it happened. One of them stopped. They always whistle and what as you run. So for some reason, one of them stopped and they told me, I've seen you running and you look like you are saying something. Are you talking to yourself? No, I told her, no, I'm praying. And she asked me if I can pray for her. So I did. Prayed for her. She told me a bit about her story. Her friend later, Ron, came and joined and we prayed. And she said, thank you very much. I connected her to an organization that deals with ladies who are in that, in that business to see whether she can get helped. And so yeah, that's what happened. So I got to just
night running. Interesting. So
Yes.
So this is Tosh. Tosh is that guy. Tosh is the high performer, high achiever type person. Also, I've said this before on the podcast. He's one of the brainiest people, like most intelligent people I've met, and so I love having conversations with him. Tosh, you've always taken this attitude into your workplace.
Yeah, I mean, for me it was, I think I built a reputation. I just get things done. Whatever it takes, I will get it done. Once I've told you, you should be able to sleep at night knowing that it's going to get done. I think I resonate with that. There's a story I heard once of this guy who was hiring a farmhand, and when he talked to the farmhand's reference, the person who had previously hired that farmhand said, that farmhand sleeps at night. I thought, no, sleeps through the storm. So this guy, the farmer, was wondering, what does that mean? Until a storm hit, and then the storm has come and the farmer is rushing out. He went to try and wake up this farmhand. The house is locked. The farmhand is not waking up. So the guy said, I've got to sort things out. He ran to where the horses are. He finds the horses are properly tied down. Nothing's going to happen. He goes to where the cows are. The cows are sorted. Goes to where the hay is. The hay is covered, properly tied down. Then he understood why this guy sleeps through the storm. He sorts these things out. And that I felt, that I need to be that kind of guy. When the storm comes, me and my bosses and whoever else, we can sleep through the storm.
You remind me of a guy who used to work at Mavuno. I think he still does. What's his name? The guy who... Alex.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Alex, now even you and me, I remove my heart to him. Alex is next level.
Alex is a sleep through the storm kind of guy. So Alex actually gave us a slogan for one gubernatorial candidate.
What was it?
So the gubernatorial candidate got we gave him the slogan, "Consider it done." And that was a promise to the electorate for that particular constituency, that if he made the promise, it was going to be done. But we got it from Alex, because Alex would give him an instruction and Alex would say, "Ushasema." But you said it, you don't need to say it again. And that would be it.
That was it. Alex is he's a special guy.
So you were that guy. You were that considered, done kind of guy, which meant, what does it mean? Does it mean you work harder than everyone else? Does it mean you work, or what does that mean?
It just means you do what it takes to get the job done. If it means you don't sleep, you don't sleep. You just do what it takes. And so I think one of the things that happened is I was in a season, I was working. We had a project to relocate the church that I was working for. We had to buy land. We had all these things. And of course, there was still the work that needs to be the normal day-to-day work. And all these things just needed to get done. And so when you throw in the fact that you're also a husband, a father, you have other obligations, you realize that it's Monday to Monday. That's the only way things get done. And so you push. And as I said, it's probably you can do it for a couple of, maybe a week, 2 weeks, but it became a prolonged thing. It just became a prolonged thing.
It becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah. And you don't see any way out of it. And initially, it feels like, you've got this, you're on top of it. Huh? I think the hard part of it is you look okay. You wake up in the morning, you look at yourself, you're fine. You're physically, there's nothing wrong with you. I remember I even went for a full health checkup. Yeah. And the thing said, there's nothing wrong with you, Your blood pressure is a little bit heading to the high side, but it's high, it's normal, but a little.
Yeah, it's like pre-hypertension.
Yeah. So, but you're good, and you're wondering, but it can't be, I just found, for example, I would read a book. I would read a sentence. When I go to sentence number 2, or even maybe that is a bit of an exaggeration. If I read a paragraph, by the time I started the second paragraph, I couldn't remember what really I'd read in the first paragraph. So I kept reading the same paragraph 1 like 5 times.
So to internalize it.
Yeah, but I'm still not internalizing. And that wasn't me. I mean, I used to be a guy of, speed reading and catch the thing and we are moving.
So let's backtrack a bit because I want to look at the lifestyle.
Okay.
I want to look at the lifestyle and look at the jobs that you were doing that got you here.
Okay.
So you were an entrepreneur.
I had been an entrepreneur. At that time, we had, with friends of mine, had started a business, a real estate business, had built it up. Moving to work for the church, I had been left only with the board responsibilities, where my other colleague was actually running the business. But the business hit headwinds for all sorts of reasons. Some because we were unwilling to play the corruption game. We were finding that our projects were not moving the way they should. We had a lot of debt. So suddenly the business was having this liquidity crunch. And, you're feeling the weight of it because you're in the board, you're trying to discuss it, try to figure it out. So that's one thing. And then, unfortunately, it collapsed. And, with it collapses a lot of what you had, I guess, some of your dreams.
Hopes and dreams, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen this thing, you've put quite a lot of your life in it. Other people trusted you with their chums, and now it's looking a little bit, you're trying to figure out how you're going to try and sort them out. So there's that. And then you asked what else? Working at the church, in charge of operations, that's finance, it's the real estate, the facilities, the HR also was with me. So all these things, and you know how it is. It's running. You have to run those things day by day. The church needs to move to a new site. You're negotiating with the owners of the property, trying to raise funds at the same time to buy, trying to raise funds to relocate. And you're in this mix. You're moving evenings. You have to go and visit parts of your congregation to explain why you're doing what you're doing, what the vision is, what the drive is. And at the same time, the landlord is telling you guys, if you want to stay, my rent is, I think he wanted to triple the rent we were paying.
Wow.
And he's saying, if you guys can't pay, you need to get out because I need to do something with this thing. And you're trying to manage that conversation. You're trying to move this other thing along, and you just don't quite have enough money yet to pay for the land. The land belonged to a Chinese company who are saying, look, you guys can't seem to cut it, so we want to pull out, and that means they walk away with your deposit, which was in the millions. It was chaotic, and you're trying to figure out, just a lot of things. There were balls. You're juggling all these balls. They're just all up in the air.
And I think sometimes it's not just that you have many balls up in the air, that each of them is so consequential.
Yes.
It holds such importance that the weight of it, it's not just a ball, it's a heavy ball to carry.
Yeah, that's true.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
And just before we talk about what the effect of that was, do you feel like do you feel like how hard you worked and the success of your business were related? And because I feel like there's a whole bunch of people who think that if you're the first one in the office and the last one in the office in your own business, then it's going to survive.
Yeah, I think I felt this thing is really up to me. And to some extent, I found it hard you began to take stuff from other people because you felt they were not doing it as well as you can. And now this thing was yours. And I think later on when I thought about it, I realized that I had also this persona that I was, and the success that comes with that persona supposedly had become my complete identity. How well my business was doing, how successful I would be in pulling this deal off for the church, that was me. And if it failed, then not only did it fail, it destroyed. It was almost it's like a god I had created. The god was my success, and if I didn't succeed, then or if any part of it broke, then the whole thing broke.
So I hear you. So the question is the success of your business linked to how hard you work on the business?
Not necessarily. I think they have very many facets. I think hard work is important, but there are other different things that come into play that some of them are just outside your control. I think we minimize what I call, for me, I call it God's favor. Other people call it luck. Because usually we say we are smart, but I mean, some of the things that had come our way when as we were building the business were not because we were smart. It's just favor, God's favor or luck, whatever people may want to call it. And sometimes you hit a bad patch, and it's not you, it's just the situation. It's just what it is. So yes, you need to work hard, but I think there are other factors. But I also think that an important part, which at that time maybe I didn't fully recognize, was just the value of other people and what they bring to the game. That is critical. So what I'm saying, yes, hard work is important, but it's not the only thing. And I guess we'll talk about it. I learned that resting doesn't mean that this thing collapses.
That's and I think that's an important point to make, because I feel like a lot of people who drive themselves to burnout, drive themselves to burnout because they don't feel like they can stop. They don't feel like they have room, they have permission to stop and to rest, and they feel like being the first one in the office and the last one in, that's what guarantees success. I think it might guarantee your takeoff, but I don't think it guarantees your success. I think at some point there's other factors, like you say, that are necessary to the success of the business. And part of it could be you pulling out.
Yes. You know, I think Amani, one of the people I really admire is a gentleman called Eliud Kipchoge. I've never met him. I hope one day I will. But I really just admire his just the way he does what he does. When I love to watch him run. But I thought, if Eliud Kipchoge ran non-stop, at a certain point he would collapse. He would cease to be a champion.
Yeah.
There has to be a time when he was preparing for this, the thing that he did in 159.
Yeah.
He stopped running other races. He stopped doing other things. He got himself out of the circuit. He said, I've got to take a break. I've got to stop in order to be, because I think the body, the mind, everything needs to renew.
Yeah. And
if and that's what I think I was saying. Once your mind, you push so hard that I think I fried my mind, if there's anything like that. So I'm working harder, but the thing so the axe that I'm using to cut is completely blunt because I've never stopped
to sharpen
it. I'm just pushing. And it's getting harder, and I'm pushing harder. It's getting harder. I'm pushing harder, and it's frustrating, but I can't stop.
So here we are. You're the picture of success.
Mm-hmm.
You're the most responsible guy I know. You're carrying the weight of your businesses. You're carrying the weight of your family, of the church that you're trying to relocate, and it's a big project. And you can't stop. So you're working Monday to Monday because you should be resting on Monday, but you're not.
Monday I would wake up early in the morning and go to the site of where the church was going to move, so that I can make sure that things that need to get done are done.
So for those who don't know, most people who work for a church would work Tuesday to Sunday, and Monday is their day off. But you're saying your day off was not a day off.
There was no day off.
So you worked 7 days a week.
Kapsa.
That's against labor laws.
It had to get done.
And that's your brand. Your brand is get it done.
Yeah, I mean, now if I don't get it done, who is Tosh?
So what happened, Tosh?
It crashed.
What crashed?
Tosh crashed. Well, as I said, it started first by just, those things I'm telling you, you figure out, hey, I can't focus. I can't, even when I'm sitting with people trying to have a conversation or direct things in the office, my mind can't quite come and grasp the things that I'm trying to talk about. When I'm given stuff to review, to read, I can't really read. I can't internalize them. My decision-making capacity I couldn't make decisions. I was always postponing them because you can't process them. I couldn't process them. I became irritable, very irritable. Small things, small things would irritate me at home, wherever. I began to withdraw. I remember. I don't know if I should say this. I was in a small. We call them that small group. The life groups. The life groups. And I remember sometimes they would come to my house and I would find a way to get out of the house because I couldn't handle talking to anybody.
Wow.
I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to be asked questions. I didn't want to hear people saying how there are things, You know how it is. You hear someone saying, by the way, we prayed and God has answered, and me, I'm wondering, I don't want to hear that. I just want to be by myself. I just want to be in a certain cave. And so I began to isolate myself. I found that I just was also always prone to all sorts of flus were like my friend. One finishes the other one, then the relative comes to take the space the other one left. So I was always having all sorts of small ailments. Then I just reached a point where even just getting up became an issue. I would remember sometimes just calling and cancelling all my appointments. I'd wake up in the morning, have breakfast, and just realize I can't hack. I just can't. I can't meet people. I can't talk to people. I don't want to go anywhere. And I'd call and just say I'm sick. Please cancel everything. I would get back into bed. and sleep until maybe midday or whatever time it is.
And now a word from our sponsors.
I promised to tell you about my land investment with Newlands in Juja. Newlands have this piece of property in Juja, which is now Newlands Juja Phase 3, and it's located 3 kilometers from Juja Farm at Mumba Shopping Center. These are about 1/8 acre plots going for only 600,000 shillings, including title processing fees. They have cash discounts, and if you'd like to pay via installments, then they have those options available as well. Let me tell you about some features of this land before I tell you about my offer for you. It's 3 km past Juja Farm, 1 kilometer from the road at Mumba. Now, it's 2 kilometers to the proposed Greater Eastern Bypass. This is a very important piece of information because you know what bypasses do to the value of property. It's an 1/8 acre plot with ready titles. It has access roads all the way to the property. It has water and electricity available. They have graded the roads within, and it's fenced. After visiting all their parcels in Juja, in Narok, and in Naivasha, I highly recommend that you have a chat with them about your next land investment. Now, before you call them, tell them that you heard this advert from Living Truthfully, and they will give you the Living Truthfully payment plan. Call them on 0727 488 788 or email info@newlands.co.ke. Is your team performing like a Formula One team? Because it should. It should be high performing and with great precision. After over 13 years of building teams for some of the biggest companies in Kenya and Uganda, I have developed the ultimate team building thought process named Pit Stop. Now, this process will help your team build trust, become innovative, and increase performance. Now, if this sounds like the team you want to work with, even with the challenges brought in by COVID-19, shoot me an email on amanimaranga@gmail.com, and I will work at bringing your team to performing like a Formula One team. October 10th, 2020 marks World Mental Health Day. This comes at a time when our daily reality has changed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The challenges we have faced in the past few months have been considerable. The excessive fear and anxiety of the unseen virus, students all across the country adapting to no school or online classes, limited contact with family members or close friends, and worse still, the loss of livelihoods and loved ones, and the strain on healthcare workers. All this has increased our awareness of our mental health and makes it clear that psychosocial support will increase exponentially in the coming months and years. This year's objective for the World Mental Health Day is greater investment in access to mental health care. And Inuka Wellness Kenya is collaborating with us at Living Truthfully to give you mental health support and hopefully make your life better. Inuka is a digital well-being app that is available on WhatsApp and provides anonymous mental and emotional support through certified coaches on your phone. And all you gotta do is chat at any time and anywhere. Now go ahead and get your free session on us at 0770 728 940. 0770 728 940. Chat now. And now, back to our story.
And I just reached a point where even just getting up became an issue. I would remember sometimes just calling and cancelling all my appointments. I would wake up in the morning, have breakfast, and just realize I can't hack. I just can't. I can't meet people. I can't talk to people. I don't want to go anywhere. And I would call and just say I'm sick. Please cancel everything. I would get back into bed and sleep until maybe midday or whatever time it is.
You know, this sounds a lot like... these signs are a lot like signs of depression.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you're heading if you don't address it.
They're almost identical.
They're very much like them.
So they all sound like these are the same signs I went through when I was going through depression. And I feel like this is a lot of some of the signs, like you're saying, being irritable, being overly sensitive. These are some of the signs of what people are going through now after the prolonged anxiety that guys are going through with COVID.
True.
What was the impact of that period for you? What did it do to your family? What did it do to you? What did it do to your job?
I think for me personally, you see, Amani, you've talked a lot. We've talked about the fact that I had a brand that I'd built over time. I got things done, and now suddenly you can't perform, you can't deliver, you can't even keep your word. And I think I just felt an overwhelming sense of failure. Like how can I failed? I can't do what I am supposed to. I know how to get done. It was like, who am I then?
So an identity crisis.
Yeah,
because you're failed, and your brand, everything you've created before now doesn't stand true.
Yeah, it's who is Tosh? I mean, Tosh without performance, who is he?
That's exactly what I felt. A man without 360.
Yeah,
a man without the marriage. You know, like all those.
Yeah, this is who you are. I mean, you called me. I'm like, as you said, umesema. As I like to tell you, you called me.
It's done.
It's done. Now I can't do.
Oh.
I just can't do. So I just felt a failure. I felt I don't know who the Tosh is anymore. And maybe that's why, and you're even in this space where you feel sick, but there's nothing wrong with you. The doctor is telling you you're fine. So what's going on? For my family, I think it was just, and my friends, it was just the Tosh who you can't reach. He's in a hole somewhere. You can see him physically, but the lights are off. He's emotionally detached. I was emotionally detached. I was irritable. I just didn't have, I couldn't engage. I couldn't engage. I remember I would even, things like they would tell me go to church. I say, I don't want to go. I'm not interested. I just want to sit in the house. Just leave me.
That same church that you work for?
Yes. Or any other for that matter. I was not interested. As I told you, my friends would come and I don't want to see them. And it's not that, it's just I don't have the capacity to hold conversation. I think there were a very small group of people who would come and I guess they just understood. So they would sit there and it would be okay to sit, and they would pray and they would go. Please don't ask me questions about how, I don't know what it is. It's just where I am. It's where I am. At a certain point, I felt, that I just needed out. So I went to my boss. I told him I have to go. I didn't understand at that time it was the burnout, but I just felt, it's my time. My time had come. I could hack this. I couldn't carry this load anymore. I had no job set. I just thought, let me just go. I'll figure this thing out whenever I figure it out.
Tell me, in hindsight now,
yes,
what could you have done during that period that would have made life a little easier for you and for your family and the people around you?
While I was inside it,
yes.
I don't know that I don't know, because see, when you're inside it, you really, it's you're in a hole. I think it's at some part of that journey, it's just people who have to rally around you to help pull you up, to help you at least not sink too deep. I know what helped me is, at a point I said, I really need to figure this out. I started to try and do a little, just say, what is going on? And that's when I came up and learnt about burnout. And you look at the markers and realize, this is where I'm at. This is what it's all about. And once I learned that, then I began the journey of trying to figure out how to get better. And I think I think I would say is there some way to get it better? Maybe let me say number one, if I think about it, is talk to somebody. I know it's the hardest thing, but even if there's just one guy in your life, just go and talk to them and just say, this is what I'm feeling. I think the hard part for me is, for a lot of people, I didn't feel I had permission to do that, to go and tell you, because I look okay. I don't look sick.
Yeah.
Like when I dislocated my shoulder, you could see I have a sling. This guy is sick. So we can, in fact, when I would go to places, I would be told to sing, you see, don't pass through that that detector. You pass on the side. People can see, so people give you
some room,
but you're okay. So what's wrong with you? I mean, get with the program. That's how most people are like. And I remember somebody almost saying that to me, you're not, what's wrong with you? I mean, just get with the program, do what you need to do in terms of work. But I can't perform. But I think, as I said, I had one or two friends who I felt, I could say, this is what I'm going through. I think it would be good for those who have spouses to be able to sit and say, this is where I'm at. This is how I'm feeling. You may not call it burnout, but to say, I'm feeling like this. These are my experiences. Because then people understand what it is, where you're at. And they can then, because it's very, it's hard when people they can't reach you. Your lights out. So I think one of the things is talk to somebody. Just let them know.
I think that's important for us to have this conversation, because there's people who first don't recognize that they're in a bad place. And I think just by hearing these signs and symptoms, then you start to say, okay, maybe I'm displaying a couple of these symptoms, and I don't know how to react. I don't know how to react even for myself. And I think the first thing I want to tell guys is, if you're going through anything that you suspect might be depression or burnout or some form of instability mentally, the moment you recognize it, what Tosha said is, talk to someone. Talk to people around you. I think the caution I wanted to give, though, don't expect them to understand, because some might not. And I realized, because if people have never seen depression before, for example, or burnout before, then they don't know how to respond to it. They think you can just snap out of it. But he's given such a good analogy, because he said it's like a broken arm. You can't, the mind breaks, and it's in a slingshot, or maybe not even yet, but you can't see it. And it takes a while for that. I mean, are you able to do, you're not in a sling now. I'm seeing your arm looks okay. But can you do all the functions of that, or are you really literally, you can't lift that hand?
That's as far as it goes, you see.
So this is, Tosh is doing right in front of me, he's trying to lift both hands. And the left arm, which was injured, cannot go up as high as it used to go.
Yes.
But that's what recovery looks like from a mental breakdown. Because a burnout is a mental breakdown.
Yes.
That's what recovery looks like. You look like you're fine, but you can't do what you used to be able to do.
That's true.
So tell me about your recovery.
I think my recovery started by first reaching the place where I say, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And trying to say, just figure it out. And I would say that has to be the first place, the place you just acknowledge, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for guys, especially those who are, you're used to getting things done. You realize it's not what it can't. Yeah. It's a hard thing to admit that I'm not good. That was the first one. And then just beginning to then say, what does it take to recover? For me, it was rest. Take just rest. I feel we've gotten into the place where it's almost it seemed to be weak to rest. What do you mean rest?
Yeah.
And even now, even when we rest, we are doing stuff. We are WhatsApp-ing.
You rest from one thing by doing another thing.
Yeah.
In fact, that's Kanji, are you listening? Rest sometimes means doing nothing.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to do nothing. You just rest. So that's some of what I did. I would go out and just go to a place where I went away a couple of times, places where there's no expectations on me. What time I wake up, what I do, and it helped just to rest. Because it's critical. I needed, in fact, I actually felt I didn't do enough rest to get back to 100%. So you rest. I think the other one is I found that let me rather say that the other thing that was very important for me was just the support of friends and family. My wife, my friends, who came around me, who supported me through this, who are willing to listen to me, sometimes go places, even some of those retreats with me just to hang out. They really helped, who encouraged me. So relationships, I think, are vital in just getting to the place of recovery. Good relationships. And I think, like you said, some people may not understand, but sometimes it just needs one. And you walk. They help you walk.
It's true. I had a friend who used to come, just sit every day, almost every day.
Yeah.
And that became, like a jumpstart to my recovery process.
I think the other thing I found is just now beginning to establish some new rhythms, beginning to make sure that, I think the first one, let me repeat it again, I rest. I think we were talking with you, Amani, when we were saying we read some about a gentleman who wrote and said it was very interesting how the Bible is written in Genesis. Because God says there was evening and there was morning.
Yeah.
And the first day. So in a sense, it says God defines his day
fast.
He defines his day from evening.
From the night fast, yeah.
Yes, and what are you doing in the evening?
You're sleeping.
Yeah, you're resting. So you rest, then you work. Your day starts with rest. Yeah. So I needed to, and even now I'm beginning to say, what does it really mean if I'm going to start my day with rest? So how should my evenings be? Because it means, you shut down a lot of stuff that we keep going on, from whether it's social media or other things. So rhythms of rest, rhythms of recreation, rhythms of exercise, even food, how I eat. I took responsibility for me. Right now, by the way, if I feel any of those things coming, I shut. I drop everything. I cancel appointments. I just say, I'm not going there. So it doesn't, I don't feel that I have to perform for performance sake. If it's going to take me down that road, I'm not going to go there again. So I'm willing to unplug.
And I think that's an important thing to do.
Yeah.
To learn to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah.
And what I'm learning is that self-care is, by taking care of yourself, you're allowing yourself to also take care of the things that are important to you.
Yes.
I get people send me, let me just tell you guys, let me just put it out there. After 9 p.m., I'm done working. Okay? 9. And it should be 8 really, but it's 9. Don't call me for work after 9. Send an email, I'll deal with it the next day. After 7.
I can tell you my phone does not ring except for a select few after 8. And I'm going to move it back.
To 7.
Yeah, it's evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we shut down.
And there's nothing wrong with shutting down. I mean, shut down. Tomorrow we'll take care. If you work well with the daylight, You don't need the night to work. And if you're working at night, for those people who work at night, then you use your daylight to sleep.
Yeah. And I'm also learning to practice a word that is very hard for me.
No.
Yes, that one. Yeah, no, I'm not good. I can't do it.
You know,
I'm not coming. So,
Yeah.
so even I tell people now, and it's not badly, that if I can't, or I don't feel I'm ready to do it, or I just, whether it's visiting, whether it's whatever it is, let me rest. I'll be better tomorrow.
the other thing I'm learning to do is, there are days I don't work. Like Sunday, I'm not going to work. And for some reason, Sunday is a day people just want to plan for the week. They start bombarding me Sunday afternoon with all the things that I should do. I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to look at them until Monday morning. It's my day with my family. It's my day. Just unplug.
I think the other thing, Amani, that people like me, and I'm still yet to figure it out because I lived it for so long. I was a person who lived for responsibility. It didn't matter if I didn't like it because I'd committed to it. It was about I did what that thing, I did what I needed to do, what I had to do, what I was required to do. And I think I never gave myself the permission to just enjoy, to do things I enjoy, to the point I think I've reached where I sometimes wonder, Tosh, what do you really enjoy? Because you're just a guy who gets things done. And I think we need to start giving ourselves the permission to do things we enjoy. Maybe you just like to play the guitar, you may be crude at it, but it's okay. I mean, or take whatever it is, because sometimes you just need to do things that are fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
And listen, this is what life is. Life is about all these experiences. Life is not just about work.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Have fun, let loose, dance, sing, watch a play, and catch a movie. Take a walk, play golf, play soccer, do something that you enjoy. Take a drive, even if it's a drive to nowhere.
Yeah.
Go camping, go hiking. Just, there's nothing wrong with doing those things.
Yeah. And I think the other thing I learned is I had to accept, which was hard when I read it. And I'd read one person and say, no, this guy has. Then you read somebody else, another expert, another person who's gone through it. You may never be the 100% of who you are
before.
When what you broke may never get completely to 100%, which means then you have to be a lot more careful. See, like my arm, it's the fact that it dislocated means it's a point of weakness, and I have to treat it differently than I would my other arm, which didn't go through the same break. Yeah. So since I went through a break, I must be clear that I cannot carry the same loads that I used to carry. I'll never get back to that person in terms of performance. And I have to factor that in.
I have a positive side to that spin. I have a positive spin to that.
Yes.
And I think this happened to me after I shut down 360, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I kept saying I'm going to build another business like that one. Then I realized that that's not the goal. The goal is accepting where you are today and seeing what is the best version of you now.
True.
And so with what is the best version of you now, then you start to say, what are the things that I can do better because of the handicap that I have?
I agree completely. And I think for me, Amani, what I think that helps. When I'd come from, I guess, a lot of different successes, academic success, some level of business success, some level of professional success. And to some extent, that season was one of the one that hits me with my biggest failures. But I think, as you said, your biggest failures allow you to look and say, okay, what can I now really contribute? What is, as you said, the best version of me? I like that. What can I do with what I have and with all the experiences that I have? And maybe that gives me something else that I think is very useful for healing. Just share your journey, share your story. Tell other people what you went through and what you learned. And because I think it can be of benefit to others. I've listened to various people on your podcasts, whether it's Solomon, Gregory, the last one. I mean, there was so much that one learns just from those experiences that gives people hope that they can get it. They can. I think there's a time one of our pastors used that term. You go make it. That they go make it. Yeah, it doesn't matter where you are, but you go make it. Yeah.
You know, I want us to come to a close, and you're now involved in a startup. Or in a couple of startups. You're still doing your project management, but you're also innovating. You're in a space where you're looking at businesses, and one of the friends that was with you during your your downtime, now you're looking at his business and you're trying to figure out how to turn around his business. And I think there's a lot to be celebrated in that. I just want to bring this to a close with the certain type of thinking and ask, what are the opportunities you see now as a result of your experience? What happens after you start your recovery journey? You start to realize that, okay, I might not be that guy that I was anymore, but this is the kind of person I can be. What are the opportunities that start to open up for you?
I feel one is you begin to give yourself freedom to be you and to do the things that you recognize that you enjoy and you're good at. So I really enjoy things around business and thinking through business. Even when it comes to project management, I can tell you I have a conversation with somebody and said, when I have project management work, I'm not doing the admin.
Yeah,
I don't want to do the admin. I don't want to do certain things. I want to be able to think, how do we put this thing together? How do we make it work? How do we drive it forward? So I think for me, what it did, it said this is the real value that you bring to certain situations.
Yeah.
And so when I go in, I know what value I bring, and that those things energize me. When I come out, I feel, I added value, and I'm looking forward to going there. I'm looking forward to doing the research. And so it helped me just begin to remove things that I used to do. Man, you can be good at something but not enjoy it. I don't know if you've ever...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was good. I've been good at certain things, but I don't enjoy them. It's just it. You can... But it's just not what you enjoy. And so I'm working to give myself freedom to really focus on the things that I enjoy, and to realize that the things I enjoy, and I can find them just because they're the things I gravitate to. If I go to a bookshop, which part of the bookshop, which section am I going to gravitate to? That tells me where my heart is, what I have fun. It's interesting. I have a large library, both on Kindle and in my house, physical books. I can count on the fingers of one hand how many project management books I have.
Wow.
Despite having done it for over 20 years.
Wow.
So it tells you that there's where my heart is.
It's not in project management.
As project management, the one of
the book, the academic type.
Yeah. There's another thing, piecing things together, bringing teams, getting stuff moving, yes, but the grind. And so that's why I'm saying, how do I bring the pieces? How do I join the pieces? How do I make these things work? And so that I'm trying to, even as you said, you're saying innovating, I'm trying to pivot myself in that direction. And so even the work with my good friend is part of that, just rediscovering me. I've got a second half to go. And I think what when you start to rediscover yourself, you start to find, I think just like you, I've seen you flourish, the podcast and other things, and you've figured out there are things that are just, you need to let go of. So I think that's what it does. It allows you to realize what you bring to the table. and people appreciate you for what you bring to the table. I think you're also more real. I think once you realize I think failure tells you you're not all that. There's a time you thought, I'm Tosh. With all whatever, then you realize, I'm Tosh, but I'm like any other guy.
How has this changed your relationships with your family?
I think how was it said? It probably would be good for them to answer. But I'd hope that I'm probably a little bit more compassionate, more understanding. I think before I would wonder why.
You'd be more driven, maybe?
Yeah, more driven. I in the back of my mind, like this week, I feel, especially last week, I felt, I haven't been around the house as much as I would like to. Just to, because it's important to be there. I think one thing I realized is that when you break, everyone else's life goes on, except yours and your family. Those are the guys who carry this thing. Everyone else has their stuff that they're doing, and they'll move on. They are still your friends, but life moves. But the people who are in the real fire is you and your family. And so for me, it's really to ask how can I be around them as much as possible. I feel and that's what I'm working. One of the things I'm constantly trying to deliberately work towards. To be more kind, to be kinder, to be more passionate.
Tosh, thanks.
Asante sana.
Thanks for sharing this. And I don't know if you're seeing some of these signs with you or with some of your friends. If you're if you're finding you might be at an early stage of burnout, you might be maybe some of these signs are signs of anxiety for you. Whatever it is, I'd say just don't go through life alone. We've talked about family, we've talked about friends. Talk to someone, there's professional help. But watch out for these signs. This is a life-changing conversation, and for many people, if you go through depression, if you go through burnout, if you go through heightened anxiety, some which have similar effects, it changes your life forever. Thank you for Tosh for sharing this.
Asante sana Amani for having me.
All right, so see you next week. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Take some rest. There's some really good holiday deals. I feel if you are selling holidays, come. I'll sell them for you. I'll take part payment in cash and part in holiday. But there's some really good deals. I've been to the coasts and to the Mara, and both for work. One for work, one for my own break. But this is a good time to travel. So if you're looking for some ways to do some self-care, that's one. God bless you.